Cafe Networking podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Riak, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Washington, D.C. is Chris Rodriguez, CEO of iExcel.co, specialist in digital marketing, growth hacking, and analytics. So, Chris, what are your favorite digital marketing techniques for 2024?
Thanks for having me, Tom. I'm excited to be speaking to the King of Networking. To answer your question, and hopefully it doesn't sound like a cop-out answer, but many of the techniques that have been used in last year and years past will continue to be strong. It's more about the changes as to how you execute on those channels. So, for example, I'm a big believer in the concept of personalized communication across email marketing,
right,
and across social media direct messaging. The differences would be if you're prospecting cold today, at this moment, February 2024, there are new laws in place that are actually going to negatively affect non-opt-in, dare I say, spam, cold email outreach. And so if done with less volume, more personalization, and more context, you will continue to not be tagged as a spam email,
right,
and therefore can continue your success with that approach. Separately, for social media direct messages, it's really just a matter of cutting through the noise. As an example, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and I have a large network, but often I get cold prospected emails and messages and DMs from people who have not kept it personal or inquired anything about my actual pain points.
right.
For those that do, they cut through the noise and they get the acknowledgement and the responses, which can obviously eventually turn into meetings or purchases. So many of those channels had always been the usual suspects, the usual channels used, but it's more about the methodology that I believe just continues to need to improve, and improving in the form of personalization.
Well, I take that. What you're saying, the toolbox hasn't changed. The tools haven't changed dramatically, but it's really how we're going to use those, right? How the precision and the use of those tools.
That's generally how I like to think about this. There might be some exceptions. For example, a new channel that hasn't necessarily been a priority that could evolve. At the moment, I would say, though not new, there is more of a B2B use case for TikTok. But again, a lot of the methodologies aren't necessarily, the channels aren't necessarily changing. It's more how you utilize those channels. So if you're targeting the right person and utilizing the right words and personalization, you will cut through no matter the channel.
But I think that's the important, is attention, really giving, let's say, the human attention. And as consumers, we're people, right? And that could be walking into a store or being worked upon by somebody through the digital systems. But the more that I feel that I have a relationship, or they understand me before they knock on my door, and I take what you're saying, you mentioned in LinkedIn, we start getting messages that, I'm going to say they're uncalled for, but they really don't know who I am. And they're just offering me stuff. And that becomes, to a point, sometimes offensive.
Sure. That's why LinkedIn created what they call the other inbox, which is basically for you to remove it from your direct view. And essentially what you're looking to do as a marketer is send a targeted, appropriate message such that you do not get banished to that person's other inbox.
I think
and again,
the word there is appropriate.
Yeah, sure. Appropriate can mean several things. Appropriate can mean, sure, the tone used. It can also mean the length of message. It can mean, in other words, I have a short attention. I'm very busy. You are an unexpected message in my inbox. How can I summarize what the purpose of this is in 5 seconds? If your message can actually capture attention or my eye in those 5 to 10 seconds, then you've done a good job of personalization plus appropriate copywriting.
So to what you do, growth hacking. Your clients, are they're B2C, B2B? Who are they?
Sure. So first I want to qualify growth hacking and what it actually means. So growth hacking was a term that came out probably about a decade ago to indicate a mentality. And the mentality is that as you're doing digital marketing, you are constantly thinking about how to improve that metric, how to grow, new creative tactics and approaches that all are related upon growth. Be it an audience that has been untapped, be it a channel, etc. So when I first came into tech startup marketing, I cut my teeth in this space of growth hacking. Now, as it stands today, that has evolved to truly mean just best practices, appropriate digital marketing. But I do wear that growth hacking, badge of honor on my sleeve when I need to pull it out. Now, that said, my current client roster and historically, we have worked with predominantly B2B companies, B2B and I would say SaaS, software as a service, type of companies. Now, as I say that, some of my largest case studies were neither B2B nor SaaS. So I say that to say there is a heavy weighting of what it is that we do, but we simply put enjoy digital marketing and have an expertise of analyzing funnels, understanding what's working and what's not, throwing creative ideas, and continuing to, in a logical over emotional way, focus on the metrics, be data driven, optimize accordingly. Whether our ideas are correct or incorrect,
Right.
we are taking an emotionless approach to getting to the right solution for our clients.
Yeah, because that's the point. Nothing is forever. And we're talking about digital marketing. Digital marketing is digital marketing. Growth hacking is growth hacking. But every 14 and a half seconds, things change.
Exactly.
And everybody's out looking, as you are doing, helping your clients understand how that's changing. When you say about the metrics, the third point that I mentioned, you're in analytics. You can have all the data you want, but if you can't sit down and figure out what it's all about, you just have a bunch of stuff.
Exactly. And so what we do there is we provide the actual expertise to not only pull data and actually manipulate the data. So standard, Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, pivot tables, finding trends, finding things that are spikes or dips. And that's the first part, is the tangible data analysis. But then there's the interpretation of that data analysis, which is to say, here is a trend that is good, bad, or I see something developing, so something to keep an eye on, and all of that to then finalize with a recommendation. Because of these insights, I recommend you go in this direction or go in that direction or stand pat here, and there's logic behind the why.
Very good. Well, Chris, thanks for being here. How can our audience find you? How can you help them keep their eye on the ball?
Sure. Well, I definitely am very active on LinkedIn. So if you're interested in connecting with me personally, again, my name is Chris Rodriguez, and you can find me on LinkedIn with my user handle, Chris Excel, ChrisExcel. And if you're looking to learn more about my company, iExcel, easy enough. The website is iExcel.co, iExcel.co.
Very good. Thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Tom.
And for our audience, it's Chris Rodriguez, Chris, the last name Rodriguez, iExcel.co. And LinkedIn, you'll find him as Chris Excel. That's Chris, Chris. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.